Maxwell, he was tired, he was pale, he had a temperature, and I took him to the doctors just because he wasn't quite himself. And then when he was seen, she felt his stomach, felt his enlarged lymph nodes, and then he had some blood taken. And the doctor came to us and said he was sorry, but it was leukaemia.
Maxwell came in when I was on ward service, and I have seen him through his treatment, the good and the bad days. So the obvious thing when you've got a child that's not responding is there a clinical trial that's available? And unfortunately there wasn't at the time. So we re-induced him. He failed that, didn't respond. We moved to the next line of therapy and I got access to a drug that we use for other conditions. Didn't respond well to that. In Max's situation, we threw the kitchen sink at him. We threw sort of every possible agent that was available on a compassionate basis. So our last ditch effort was to actually give him what we call FLAR-IDA, which is basically machine gun chemotherapy. It's really heavy stuff. And he got really sick. He ended up in intensive care with an inflammatory syndrome and nearly died during just the chemo part of that. And so we knew the only chance of cure was with a stem cell transplant.
When chemo doesn't work, transplant is your last option. To know that's your last option, it's this or nothing, is devastating.
I sat the family down and I said, there is a 10% chance he will be alive in a year. I'm more sure that he'll relapse than not. I'm worried he may die from infection before then. We had palliative care involved at that transplant consent discussion. The family knew that this was going to be really tough and that he may not survive. But they also knew that without it, it was certain death. It was one of the hardest transplant consent discussions I've had.
To have a sibling match gives you the best chance of the transplant taking and being successful. Our youngest son wasn't a match, but Ethan was a match, and so we were so lucky for that. We needed it to work. So we were on the transplant suite in Maxwell's room, and one of the oncologists came in and he said, "We've got amazing news. Maxwell is clear." And he himself said we had to double check the results. We couldn't believe it. And I gave him a hug and got a bit emotional, and it was amazing to hear that news. The Royal Children's Hospital is life-changing, it's life-saving, and it is an amazing place that we're so lucky to have. And there are so many children there. There's so many children that have so many different things and support that they need. Thank you. Thank you for treating him so well and as a person, not just a number. Just thank you. Thank you for the talks in the hospital room late at night, and sorry for all the tears. Just thank you.